Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm ready to do my first impressions on the Finch Knives Tikuna. Tikuna, I'm not sure. It's the mini machete to me. Got my LaCroix here, hint, hint, if you saw my 1929 first impressions. I'm doing all the Finch knives back to back, so please watch the model 1929 video first, because I went into a lot of things there about Finch knives, how I got the knives, why I think they're great, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that again because I don't want to bore you guys to death. So, the Finch Knives Tikuna. So, I have the green one here. My wife picked this color out when Spencer was sending them to me. Again, watch the other video. You'll kind of get why I got the pick. But I really like this green G10. It has this really cool design, like, I don't even know what the ridges or whatever built into it. And when I spoke to Spencer, he told me that was a last-minute decision to add this kind of milling to the G10. And that was an absolutely genius last-minute decision. So just real quick, let's go over this knife. Again, we have green G10 scales. We have a black, I think it's DLC or PVD coated 154 cm blade here. I have no idea what you call this. A drop point, maybe? I'm going to call it a machete blade. How about modified machete? You have a pretty good flat here, which is interesting because you'd think it would be a lot of belly. And it is up here, but you get a pretty good straight right here. There might be the ever so slight recurve. No, pretty much just straight here, and then tons of belly up to this tip. Such a cool blade shape. I don't know how well you can see with the coating on there, but the grind like starts here, and it looks like a hollow grind, and it goes, I mean, it's pretty tall, right? It goes about halfway up the blade here, and then all the way out. I don't know if you can see where that kind of ridge is, and it just has this really cool effect. It comes down to a pretty thin edge, actually, guys. I would have to assume this is somewhere in the high teens in terms of thickness behind the edge, maybe mid-teens. I don't want to go too much lower than that without knowing. But it's very thin behind the edge. It slices through paper like a demon. I've opened a couple packages with this guy. It's very good for that because you have a good tip, good amount of belly, and then you also have the flat. It's a very versatile blade shape here, guys. I just love the aesthetic of this. It looks like a mini machete, and that just drew me in, guys. This was the Finch knife that made me want to get Finch knives, and I'm so glad I did, because after I got the ones I have in, I just am in love with them. Their designs are so cool. They're just interesting. They're different. They're doing something different. It's such a breath of fresh air. That's how I see Finch Knife Co. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it, guys. Like, just a breath of fresh air to this knife community. I absolutely love it. So, this knife here is made by Best Tech in China. Some of their other ones are made in QSP, but this one is made by QSP, sorry. This one is made by Best Tech. You can see the Finch logo right here. And then 154 cm and Tikuna there on the back side there. Hope you can see that. Just an interesting design. I've never seen a mini machete like this before. It just stands out like all their designs. That's one of the things I love about them. The action on this guy, the detent is dialed in. So if I go to the brake, it always shoots out and locks up. Do not have any issues there. I mean, you could possibly say this is a little stiff, but I wouldn't even go that far. I think it's just dialed in perfectly. The closing action is also very good. Just a couple of shakes and she drops home. For a small blade like this, I'd say it's probably about 3 inches, right? 3 1/4, nah, 3 inches. I'll go 3 1/4 to be safe. Well, here, let's check it against the bug out, right? So here's the Tikuna. Here's the bug out. Let's see. So it's definitely smaller than a bug out. Blade length wise, a little bit smaller than the bug out. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is a 3-inch blade. But if you're in a place where 3-inch and under is the law, I'm not going to recommend this because I can't tell you for sure. I'm pretty sure it's at least 3 inches. So there is that. But yeah, the action is good. One gripe I do have with this specific model is the liner lock here. So the liner on it there's good access, right? They made it where the liner sticks out a little bit and you can get your finger in there pretty good. Right-handed, left-handed, obviously it's a lot easier because you can just come at it from a different angle. But it's pretty rough. That jimping is kind of rough, and it's not necessarily the easiest lock bar to shove out of the way. So you do end up kind of putting a good amount of pressure right onto that jimping, and it can tear your thumb up a lot. So I don't find myself sitting there constantly fidgeting with this one. Pretty much every one of their other knives, I could sit there and fidget all day. They're so easy to disengage and deploy that I don't put any pressure or do any damage to like my nails or my fingers. Nothing hurts, you know. It's weird to say that, but there's knives that hurt to deploy, and then I can't sit there and fidget with them over and over. And that's kind of a big deal, right? That's one of the reasons I get rid of a lot of knives. If it's not comfortable to constantly fidget with, and all the other Finch knives are absolutely a dream to play with. And this left-handed actually is very comfortable. You can just shove your thumb in there and it's no problem. But right-handed, it has beat me up a little bit. So whatever that means to you guys, if you're right-handed, just keep that in mind, right? We have a tiny bit of blade play on this guy. I'm pretty sure a little bit of Loctite to the pivot would do a lot of good. That's kind of a thing with knives, even way higher priced than this. So I'm not going to hold that against it too much. But obviously I don't want to have to Loctite my pivot. But I've had to do that with a Chris Reeve Sebenza. So take that for whatever it's worth. Ergonomics on this guy, they're good. They're really good. I can fit all 4 fingers, just fit all 4 fingers in there. There's no hot spots. This clip is, this is not titanium. So this is a steel clip, I believe. Well, it could be titanium. I'm not going to go ahead. Do I have a magnet? I do have a magnet. Yeah, so this is magnetizing to the clip a little bit here. So this is a steel. Wait, is it the screws? No. Oh, you know what? It could be the scales underneath though, because look. So it's hard to tell then. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, guys. It seems like a steel clip. Wow, almost cut myself. Seems like a steel clip there, but it goes in and out of pocket well, no issues. Retention is good. I've carried it in the front. I've carried it in my back pocket. It rides really well. So no issues there with carry. Again, with ergos, I can fit all 4 fingers. I don't have any hot spots with that clip because it's very low. I do love how they do their flipper tabs. I just did the model, where are you? The model 1929. And it's very similar the way they angle their flipper tab when the blade is open. You see here how they kind of put it on this angle up. So that way you can kind of use you can kind of use that tab as a finger choil. And it's a good contact point so you know you're on that jimping and it's not too rough so it doesn't hurt or anything. But you could choke up and then you can do some precision cutting with this. So I really like that design aspect that Finch does. It seems to be a cohesive kind of thing. They've added to multiple designs, yet they look so much different, but there's that kind of language in there, right? I really like that. This guy is a little heavy. So you do have these pretty thick G10 scales. You have a G10 backspacer, and then you have steel liners, and that all just seems to add up because they didn't mill anything out on this knife. At least as far as I could tell, I don't see any internal milling. So it is a little bit weighty for being like a 3-inch blade. You know, I can't give you a weight, but I'd probably estimate it around 4 ounces, maybe a little more. So that's pretty hefty for a little guy like this. Now, because it's only 4 ounces and it's a little guy like this, it doesn't really matter all that much, but I did notice it weighing down a little bit more than like the 1929 or the Holiday or the Cimarron. So definitely something to mention there. I talked about the cutting. It's very, very good. We've talked about the carry, the ergos, the action, the aesthetics. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. I'll get you guys my full review soon enough. And I'll let you know about the value and my recommendations. This is definitely one I would recommend if you love the aesthetic of the mini machete. But if I had to, you know, if you could only choose one Finch knife, I don't think, ironically, because this is the one I originally chose, I don't think this would be the one I would recommend to you, just because I like some of their other designs a bit better, and I think I like the fit and finish and overall just quality of the QSP made ones a little bit better. So that's the Finch Tikuna, guys. I really appreciate you stopping by and listening to me rant and rave as usual. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I catch you later.